So this is the dumpy tree frogs. They're from Australia, and this one is named Mint. They're very chill animals. Both of the ones I have today are both males.
Are they? How can you tell?
Because they croak, and the females don't croak. They try to track the female with the croaking.
But is there any way that you can look at it and tell if there's a male? You just have to wait till they start croaking or not?
I get croaking the easiest. I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, how big do they get?
They get like twice the size of this, so...
And how old is this one? Okay. Thanks, Mom. Okay. And so they get like maybe a little bit bigger than that?
They get twice the size.
Wow. Wow. And do they make good pets?
Yes, they make it amazing.
Why do you have the clothes on?
Because I don't want to get any of my oils on it. It's not this actually. They use the slime and the skin of this for medication.
Oh, that's a
Sores and lowering blood pressure.
Now, what do they do?
Mealworms. You have to crush the head. Crickets.
What, you have to crush the head of the mealworms?
Yeah,
So
because they don't bite them.
Okay.
And they're smaller and they're like...
What do they use to swallow, Abe?
They use their eyes to swallow their food.
Their eyes?
Yeah, they stick their eye like into their body and push them in straight to
Oh, very cool. That's interesting. And how many times do you feed them?
probably once a week.
Once a week only? Oh, okay.
Should be doing it every day.
Very cool. Now, I know you have a menagerie at the store, but is this your personal pet?
Yes, it's
Oh,
a
awesome. Awesome. And then that's a male too?
Yes, that's a male too.
And it's just a different color? Is that?
And different eye color. Yeah, that's a really.
Can they change colors, Abe?
No, so this one in the dark, they can like lower they can turn, say this one right here, this one green. And when it's in the dark, it's turned brown.
Oh.
Browner and browner.
Now, do they have to have special lighting or they can survive without the lighting?
They can survive without the light.
Okay. And then do they sleep in the day or do they sleep in the night?
At night.
They sleep at night and then they're awake in the day?
Oh, no, I mean they sleep in the day, sorry.
They sleep in the day and so they're nocturnal?
Yes,
Okay, good. So do they croak in your room all the time to keep you awake?
Not that much.
Okay. So do they croak like different times of the year, like mating season or?
Maybe seriously.
Mating season. And when is that?
I have no idea, sorry.
Okay.
Usually in the warmer months.
In the warmer months, okay.
When they have the baby, they lay the eggs, are they live there or egg layers?
I think they're egg layers.
Where do they lay their eggs?
In the water.
Oh, okay.
In the water.
Cool. So do you have to keep them in water then? So they like water animals?
No, they're not water animals, so you just have to like spray them once again.
Okay, just so they don't dry
Do
out.
they have a coating on their body?
They have coating on their bodies since they're from Australia, and they have a coating so they don't get dry as fast.
Oh,
So
very,
they can go through a dry season and not dry out.
oh, very cool.
Which is one of the reasons why they make the best beginner pet, right?
What, does anybody have any questions for Abraham? I see a hand somewhere back there, maybe? No?
Me.
Okay, go ahead.
She's that.
That's the sister? Okay. She'll ask you later. Okay, well, that's good. Anybody else have any questions? Good job, Abe. Maybe you walk around a little bit. All right, Miss Avery is up, and then what do you have here?
This is a corn snake. He is a female.
He is a female. He's confused. Okay, so he is a female then, is that what
No,
you're saying?
he's a male.
Oh, he's a male, okay. Now, that looks like a strange color. Why is it that color?
Because it's a cornbread snake.
Cornbread.
His
Okay.
name is Cornbread.
Oh, is it?
He's an albino.
Albino. Okay, so do you know what an albino means?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, albino means that they don't have any color, their eyes are red. That's why it's that beautiful color that you have. And you say, what's his name is Cornbread? Awesome. And Cornbread now, how old is he?
He's 7.
7? Wow. Is he gonna get bigger?
Yes.
He hasn't really gotten much bigger since we've got him. We've only had him for 3 years. Somebody donated to us, him to us. They couldn't take care of him any longer. And
Okay, so tell me about his shed. I know he sheds, but can you tell us about that? How does he shed?
The skin.
He sheds one big piece.
One big piece. Now, I know what they do. They rub their nose against the rock, right? Or something, and then they start, and then their skin is inside out, like if you were to take off your sock and roll it off. It's inside out. So if you see a snake's shed somewhere, it's usually inside out. That's awesome. He likes you. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You might not know this. He likes you because you're warm. Can you tell me about that? Like, about his temperature?
He's cold.
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
And do you know what that means?
He has cold blood.
So that means, and I'm sure everybody knows here, but that means they have to get warmed up by outside sources. That's why he's rubbing against her, because she's warm. And that's why, in the wild, they would have to get out in the sun, or, well, not him, because he would get burned really easy. But- Do you have some sort of heat source in this tank at home? Okay, good. And you keep a water bowl in there?
yeah.
Good job. Anybody have any questions for Avery?
Yeah, how often does he shed?
How often does he shed?
He sheds like, once a month.
Awesome. Well, he's beautiful. And how old is he? You said 7 years old?
Yes, 7.
Awesome. And how long do they live till?
30 years.
30 years? Holy smokes. How long? You'll be like 100 by then.
He's actually older than me. I'm 6, he's 7. Yeah.
She's almost 7, so in a couple of weeks she'll be 7 too. Then he'll be the same age.
Awesome. Well, you did a great job, Avery. Anybody have any questions?
I'm Adam,
Adam, okay.
yes, and I'm with Safari Savvy Reptiles as well. And this is a yellow Aki, and his name is Bobo. Okay,
Where does he come from?
he comes from Australia. All right, he'll live 15 to 20 years, and he's about, I don't think he's gonna grow anymore. He might fatten up a little bit more. But what is he, 3 years old?
Like 4.
4 years old?
And what does he eat?
He eats crickets and mealworms and roaches. He'll eat eggs. He'll eat chicken hearts cut up as well. He'll eat pinkies, pinky mice. What's that? Raw or scrambled. Yeah, they'll lick them up kind of like tegus would. Yeah, pretty much whatever's out there, he's not picky.
And how long do they live till?
15, 20 years.
Cool.
Yep.
How, do they make good pets?
This one, yeah, they do make really good pets.
They did a good job. I love that.
They are very active in their cages, which is cool, and they're also very social. So, for the most part, they can be housed with others.
Do they sleep at night or they
Yeah, they sleep at night. They need a hot basking area. They like the stack method, where you have the different layers of the rocks, so that way they can control their heat. They also like to dig in sand. So, there's also the red Akis, which are the ones we have are quite a bit larger than him, so the female is actually bigger than him. But we have a second one, and they're about the same size. So they were 2 males, and they just weren't doing great together. So
And they shed too, just like a...
yeah,
just in
shed as well.
sections.
Yep.
Are they egg layers?
Yes, egg layers. 3 to 5.
Brothers?
Yep.
No, they have larger flushes, 10 to 20.
10 to 20. Oh, sorry. There you go.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but they say pretty chill. This one's fun. He likes to just hang out with everybody. He explores everything, gets himself into trouble.
Now they're in the monitor family.
Yep, miniature monitors, so or pocket monitors, I guess.
And they make good
Work
pets.
monitors, and they are really good pets.
Okay, awesome.
So,
It's really cool because it's like the thing, you have like a Komodo dragon, but compact, really small, and they're really intelligent. They're actually like, they can cohabit with multiple males. They'll fight for dominance, and then they figure out who's dominant, and they'll sleep with their arms over each other.
Aww.
Yeah.
these are all coming from here. Yeah, they're bred here. It's closed right
Yeah,
now.
they have a really high price tag because of that. They're usually like, yellows are usually $300 to $400, and reds are usually $450 to $500. But, you know, the money that you save there, or the money you spend there, you save on cage requirements because they don't need extremely large cages, so.
Yeah.
They do like a really hot, they like 130, 135 degrees. So like it's hot.
All right, please walk
Thank you.
around. Good job.
So what I couldn't choose what to bring tonight, so I thought what I'd do is bring just some of the New Caledonian geckos that I breed, that I have, from the smallest to the largest. And New Caledonia is this bunch of little islands off in the Pacific. And they have very, very odd and distinct gecko species. Now this is one of the smallest, well actually there are smaller ones, you know. This is small enough that you can still see it. They call this a chameleon gecko. It's Eurydactylodes agricola. This is,
Cute. Now, how big are they yet?
that's it.
Oh, that's
A
it.
little bit bigger. He's full grown now.
Wow.
And they move. He's a little bit hyper. But one of the cool things about the New Caledonians is that they are generally handleable, and they're not very bitey. You know, just kind of.
Now, what does he eat?
Gecko, crested gecko diet.
Oh, okay, so that's like fruits and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
sometimes I put pinheads and stuff in there, but I'm never sure if he actually eats the crickets. But they're very pretty. The agricola have
A jumper.
He jumps and he sticks to the chair. He doesn't fall to the floor.
Do they make good pets? No?
Well, they're they're not a beginner pet.
Okay.
They're delicate, you know. You can kill them, you can stress them out. So, but they're more for looking at, but you can handle them. So then probably the most popular New Caledonian that you see everywhere is the crested gecko. They're also called eyelash geckos, and you can kind of see.
Oh, they're so cute.
They have the cutest little faces. This is my male, big red.
And
One of my-
they lose their tails.
They can lose their tails very easily, and if they lose their tails, it doesn't grow back. So, a lot of people, they say most of them in the wild don't have a tail. They lose their tails, but.
Why is that? Because of harassment?
Well, just, like, they'll throw it. They actually will throw their tail off. It does, they throw it. Mine, the only one that ever lost her tail when I was evacuating, in the box, she just got freaked out and she threw her tail across the box. You can kind of see it's very interesting. It looks like a star pattern where they detach it. Yeah, it's very freaky.
And they don't bleed, because my female iguana did that, and
They don't bleed.
they don't bleed, it cauterizes.
It's like they do it, it's a defensive mechanism, but then of course they never grow back, and I think their tails are cute, and they're prehensile tailed too. When they're like 6 or 7 months old, so the females are worth usually a whole lot more than
Are they?
the males are, yeah.
'Cause they lay eggs.
Yeah. But I breed, he's one of the beginning of my red project. He's actually almost more orange than red. I have a lot that are way more red than him, but they just aren't as calm. He's my calmest one for some reason. Crested geckos are sort of, even though Eurydactylodes are smaller, crested geckos are kind of at the bottom of the food chain for these other guys. So these are our prey species, where the gargoyle and the lychee and the chewy are more predator species and will eat you, dying on baby crested geckos, which apparently are delicious. So these guys tend to be fairly flighty, but he's quite calm. He's a good boy. I take him out a lot, and he'll sit on my shoulder. You know, he's very curious. I always want to kiss him when I have him out, but I won't. That's bad behavior to model friendship. Okay, go back.
I kiss mine in private too, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
Only in private. Come on, dude. Go back in there. PDA. So then there's gargoyle geckos. These have been around less long than crested. Oh, one cool thing about crested that I found out is they were almost extinct in New Caledonia, and then people brought several out before they, and that really has kept them going in the pet trade, having them, and then they've developed all these beautiful color morphs and stuff, and now theirs is quite common. Now this is a gargoyle, and it looks like she's actually in shed. She's not as bright. I was just trying to fish for one that would be fairly calm tonight, but she's normally much redder than that. This is kind of the next species up the food chain in New Caledonia. And they call them gargoyles because they have these like points on their head. Can you see? Like that.
And these are all nocturnal, so you don't need special lights or anything like that.
I mean, because I have them in bioactive tanks, I put LED lights. And actually, when I buy the 4-foot shop lights with the 2 bulbs, and I'll put an LED full spectrum in one, and I'll often put a UVB in the other, just because UVB doesn't hurt.
Right.
I don't stress out about changing it every 6 months. So
Right.
They supposedly don't need it, but you know, they're very similar. They're less flighty than Cresties. They're very disinclined to bite. They come in incredible colors. I wish she wasn't about to shed. I didn't realize when I pulled her out tonight. She's normally really bright red and orange, and you know, it's the same food as the other ones, except they're a little bit less interested in insects. Now this is a Chahua Chewy. These guys are so cool.
What is that, did you say?
Chahua?
What does that mean?
Just
Just a brand.
Gecko Chahua.
Sound like a method.
Yeah. Now watch the way they walk. I was gonna do it.
Oh, slow like that?
Yeah, they creep. I love that.
Now they get bigger, correct?
Yeah. I have mainland, which are a little bit smaller than the Pine Islands. I like the mainland chewies because they have a shorter nose and big old bug eyes. I love that big old bug-eyed face, but they, you know, to me the color is so extreme. I love it, but I put a lot of oak branches in my rooms, and I have gone in there going, oh my God, the chewy got out. I don't see it. Where is it? And then all of a sudden I see it's right there on the branch. They just went in so well. This is protective coloration, even though to me it looks so exotic. This is one of my females. Now, chewies are very expensive because they're hard to breed. They have, the females tend to calcium crash and die. My friend JMO had a pair of Chahua for like 10 years. And then one year the female finally laid eggs, and she laid like 2 clutches and then she died. They use a huge amount of calcium making their eggs. And even I had one of her sister laid a dud, and when you can tell when they're calcium crashing that their tail will get a kink in it. And her sister had 2 kinks in the tail after just laying the duds. So I give them liquid calcium, you know, the calcium fluvianate, the sweet one, because they'll take it. And their egg is also so thick that it's hard for the babies to get out. And they incubate for a long time. So I'm afraid to even breed them. People say wait till they're at least 3 to try to breed them. And she's 2. This is a Leachianus. This is one of the smallest species of Leachianus. How big do the big ones get? Big ones, the big GTs, they get big. Yeah, the body gets like that big. They get like almost frightening. And they are known for being, they can get very cage aggressive and territorial. In fact, I will not mess with this one after dark. I'm glad this meeting was, you know, still not quite dark yet, because she'll get very aggressive. But during the day, when I got her, the lady I got her from would handle her. She just carried her around. She was like on disability or something. She watched TV all day and held the Leachie, hand-fed the Leachie. The Leachie was totally tame. But I haven't had time to do that, so I haven't been handling her enough, and now she's getting a little feisty with me. But she's never bit. But these are like the cougars. But she'll usually start squeaking.
Is she fired up right now? Or do they fire up?
They do fire up, yeah. She's pretty fired up. She can get a little darker and that pink will come out. That pink will come out more. So,
when it starts, they get darker.
no, when it's dark, they get meaner.
Like you.
Yeah, the tail is always like that. That's how the tail is. They've got the funniest little tail. It's like a little tail coming out of another little tail. That's just, and it's apparently,
So you plan to breed them or try? Yeah. Do you have a house together or separate or?
I have what I have them is 20-gallon tall tanks. And I have the male in the middle and the female on each side, right up next to each other, so they get used to looking at each other. I hear you have to, when you introduce them to each other, these and chewies, you have to like stay up all night because they'll kill each other. Actually, chewies are supposed to be even worse than leeches, but leeches are bad. You don't just put them in there and go away, because you don't want to, sometimes the female will kill the male.
Now, once they're introduced, do you leave them or you're breeding them and separating them?
I've heard of people having breeding pairs, like the lady I got this one from knows the people who have the parents that are a breeding pair, but once they're a breeding pair, they become unhappy.
Does anybody have any questions for Valerie?
Battery, the baby, how much do they go for? Your wheel.
Babies?
Yeah.
$600?
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
For babies? Actually, no, somebody said they got one for $800.
I was gonna say there's like 800,000 for babies. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
And that's for the smaller ones, not the bigger species too.
Right, right. The GTs are like $1,500.
Nice. All right, good job.
This is one of two. This is a breadleaf, carpet python. Now, breadleafs come from Australia. They come from out in the Alice Springs area in the middle of the country. Funny thing about this breadleaf, his name is Liam. And Liam, nobody told him that he was supposed to be the gentleman. Because breadleafs are supposed to be the gentleman of the carpet python family. But nobody told him. And by that I mean he is prone to striking, he's prone to biting. I knock on wood, I've gone 2 weeks without him striking at me, and today he struck at me. I'm trying to get out of the cage. His bite is quite nasty. He's, I got him from Billy Hunt from Yule Bombing Reptiles. He's about 3 years old.
How long do they live?
He can live 25, 30 years. Now, the neat thing about him is, up until a month ago, he was eating rats. Everybody eats rats. So Savannah and I got into this discussion. And I lost a bet to her with my stand mower. We won't get into that. By the way, she had another quail today. So I started him out on quail. They're about that big.
What would you say, quail?
Quail, yeah.
Like the bird?
Yeah, like the bird.
He's got such a little head though.
Yeah.
We got baby quail.
Yes, he does. And he can nail the quail and down the quail quite easily.
Wow. Where do you get quail?
I got something.
There you go. If you need quail, go to Savannah.
I got something in another place. But he loves his quail. In fact, the funny thing is, well, some of you know Oliver, my big animal python. Oliver is the only one in the family that does not eat quail. In fact, if that snake had feet, you could see him running away from the quail and like sticking in the cage on the tongs. He literally goes to the other side of the cage. This was a little bit bigger. I had his perch out, and I was going to let him sit on his perch, but it took me 15 minutes to unwind him. So I decided that we would not perch tonight.
He's beautiful.
Now, he is a jungle carpet python. He's almost 5 years old. He eats large rats and large quail. Now, he is supposed to be a jerk. By all everybody's count, the jungle carpets, you know, they bite, they strike, they do all manner of evil things. The only thing evil that he does, every night he destroys his cage. I've got plexiglass cages for both of the carpets, and he's got greenery from Dollar Tree, suction cupped on the wall. Well, it's suction cupped when I go to bed. When I go out in the morning, there will be no greenery. It'll all be down on the ground.
And how often does he eat?
He eats every 8 weeks.
Oh, every 8 weeks, like me. I mean, every 8 minutes, I'm sorry.
Every 8 minutes.
Okay, so I have a corn snake, but you can tell he's a different morph. He is an Annery Motley, I believe they're called. As you can see, he's this really nice purpley gray color. I have a little bit of yellow on the side near on his neck. His name is Aladdin, like the dragon from Greek mythology. He is almost a year old. I got him from the Repticon actually. So, yeah, he eats frozen frog poppers. He recently moved up from fuzzies, so he should be doing a little more now. I keep him in a 10-gallon tank right now with what I found to be good is aspen chips as substrate, and then I put some dry sphagnum moss, and he really likes that because he can kind of just kind of slither in between it and kind of go around, dig a little bit. He's kind of funny because he has 2 hives in his aquarium, and he curls up under his water dish. So I don't know why he doesn't like the hides, but he just likes being under the water dish instead. So yeah, right.
Just like pressure.
Yeah.
Now, and he's from Florida, right? You're native to Florida?
They're native to North America. But yeah, this is
Beautiful.
Aladdin. Yeah. Not much else to about him.
Well, that's, yeah, anybody have any questions for Leo?
Do you feed it live or dead?
Frozen bottom.
Frozen?
Yeah.
Why? Is it better?
Yes, it's better for the snakes so that they don't get injured if they're eating live. So, yeah. Yes.
Will they, like, give a look at our corn snake?
Yeah, you will. Just in a few years. He's just small right now because he's, like I said,
He was a couple of years old, is that what you said?
he's only about a year.
A year old,
Yeah.
okay. Beautiful color.
Yeah, he's one of those where I saw him and I just had to have him.
That's what you get for walking around.
I know.
You gotta go with
This is a Moroccan Euromastic. He's not full grown. I mean, when he's at home, he's in a very large enclosure where he likes it around 110, 112 degrees. And when he's on top of the cage that he sleeps in, that's usually where it's about 110, 112. And the colors just blow out. And yellows and greens. Yeah, it's cold. So he's never attempted to bite, but and he's calmed down over the last several months. But he used to go crazy and try to whack me with that tail. And Dennis knows I used to wear a glove because it would actually break the skin if he nails you with these spikes. Basically, they're vegetarians. They come from North Africa, Morocco, and Algeria, the northern part of Africa. He was born just north of here in Brooksville, I believe.
Beautiful.
Mostly vegetarian, but occasionally, I'll buy a few crickets, throw them in, He grabs it, gobbles them right up, yeah. I also, when I had smaller snakes, baby snakes, I would give them, throw it out pinkies. If they didn't even say the second one, I said, well, let me see what happens, and I dropped it in, like that. So, you know, I guess in the natural habitat, they would grab whatever they can get, but mostly just greens and so forth.
Now, will he get bigger?
Yeah, he'll grow about another 6 inches or so. Yeah.
And how long do they live?
From what I've read, about 20 to 25 years. Yeah. And they're usually fairly calm.
He's pretty calm here.
Yeah, he is, but he's also cold.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons.
Now, are they nocturnal or are they
No,
sleeping?
they're nocturnal. Yeah, at nighttime he goes into his little cave and stays there all night.
And do they need a special light?
Yeah, he did. Oh, yeah. UV lights, works, and like I said, it's the thermal regulators, but even the cooling is probably about 88, 90 degrees.
Is it more like a desert out here?
Oh, yeah. And they like to climb on the rocks, and some rocks in there, plus the cage, which during the day, if he's not eating, he's spending most of his time on the cage on top of it, because there's a heat blanket there.
Now, do you know it's a male?
Yeah. By the color, females are very dark, and you can also tell by, the underside. Really low. But I think a lot of lizards are like a lot of birds. Unlike humans, the males are the prettier ones. So.
What? Like humans?
Well,
Some humans.
you're supposed to be prettier than me.
Oh, okay.
And his name is Salam. His name is Peace. My daughter.
That's what it's got like.
Yeah, Salam. My daughter likes to name my reptiles.
Oh, that makes sense.
The next one I'm going to bring out, he's going to be hyper, I should say he's a she. Just shed very early this morning, like just probably about 7 o'clock this morning. And so he's a little sensitive.
Snake.
This is an albino tangerine Honduran milk snake. And her name is Creamsicle. One of my grandsons named him that. And I have a male for her, but I'll probably do them next year. The male is not albino, the male is a normal tangerine.
And where are they from, the milk snakes?
Well, this is Honduras.
From Honduras, okay.
Mainly Honduras in that area. But of course you wouldn't get the albinos.
Right, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I typically feed, I only want to feed frozen foods. And he takes large mice, and he actually took down a small rat, which surprised the heck out of me. I had fed the small rat to one of my ball pythons. Wouldn't eat it, so I said, well, I'm not going to see it go to waste. And sure enough, took it down.
What's the difference in the coloration between the albino tangerine and the regular tangerine?
Well, the regular tangerine will have dark, black, like the three colors, the black and the orange, like the tangerine and the white.
I kind of know it's a coral snake,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they mimic the coral snake.
Coral snake or the scarlet king, which is the opposite. Right.
So black bands, like the white bands?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And how long do they live?
Probably about 20 years, 18 to 20 years. If they're kept properly.
Beautiful. Avery, you had a question?
Snakes, Diana?
How like long do they get?
The milk snake this one will get up about another foot longer. They get up and I'm rather not happy. All right, so I'll show you this. He's normally kind of hyper anyway.
Pretty.
Well, he just did, you know, his last Groovy Mac.
And what kind is this again?
This is a Mandarin Rex.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite steak of all time. It's just naturally colored as well.
Beautiful.
And this is my male, and his name is Yao Ming, which is the famous basketball player for the Houston Rockets.
So what do you feed him? Live with it?
Oh,
Once a week or once a week?
about every week or so.
What's the temperature you keep him? Same as the
Just 77, 76 and 78. It's my bedroom.
Your habitat is comfortable. Is it high mountain?
Yeah, 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Yeah, they get stressed out when it's over 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's where my Vietnamese monster frogs are. They come from that same area, the high mountains on the border between Vietnam and China. They like, if it's too hot, they'll die, so I have to keep them all in my bedroom.
Yeah, the ones from Vietnam, North Vietnam, the northern part of it where there's mountains, they're a little bit more pricey because they're more yellow. The yellow stands out more.
That's a beautiful color.
Oh yeah, I mean, ever since I was, I don't know, a teenager. I bought one of these back in the late 80s, early 90s from Strictly's over on the East Coast, and it was a wild caught juvenile. Never could get it to eat. And God, I guess within, maybe a month and a half. But this is captive bred over in, Texas, this guy.
Where did you get it?
Breeder in Texas, vivid reptile.
Vivid reptiles.
Yeah. He specializes in mandarins and some other people.
And is their temperament pretty calm? Are they nippy as babies?
The nippiest babies, yeah. And if you don't handle them regularly, they'll look for sure.
Are they all from that color?
Yeah, they're all this color.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, they are gorgeous.
Any questions for Ed? All right, thank you. Well, I bought my bearded dragon thinking there was going to be probably 5 or 6 of them around, but I guess she's one of 2 here tonight, but one is not going to speak. This is a female, got her as a rescue. I got her in 2015, and she probably was 2 or 3 years old, I'm not even sure. But I keep her outside all the time. She's kind of interesting because she likes to sleep sitting up. I've never seen a bearded dragon sleep like that. So she has in her cage outside. I always bring her down because she just doesn't look comfortable, but I guess she is because she sleeps like that every night. But she is dark right now because she's cold. I keep her outside. She gets nice bright yellow. She has a big enclosure with a lot of climbing stuff. She's from Australia, and so they're kind of like deserty rock animals. But she sheds in sections, not like a snake. She doesn't shed in one piece. And it looked like she was going to shed a little bit on her face. She's a little bit, and her hands look like she's ready to shed soon. They have teeth, but they don't really bite. She was a worm eater all the time, but I got her back to vegetables, and now she loves kale, and she loves her collard greens. And I bought some super worms if any of your animals want to eat, because I don't want to introduce her back to worms, otherwise she won't eat her vegetables. So now she loves the kale, and she loves the sprinkler too, because my dad made like condos, so each one has their own, and the sprinkler goes on every like 10 minutes for about 15 or 20 seconds, and then it goes into the baby bath, the ones that have a little slope, and so she can sit in there, and she can kind of sit up without, I don't have to worry about her drowning. And I also put her perch in there too, so she can sit on the perch above the water and then get rained on if she wants it, so she likes it. I leave them out when it rains, but when it rains like a lot and it's windy and it's cold, I bring them in. And I have special lights indoors because they do need the UVB lights, so in the wintertime I bring them in, and they have special lights, and they're on heating pads because she's like ice cold in here. And when we were in the car, I was worried that it was getting too hot. I brought her to the store with me and all that. But yeah, she's kind of cold right now. The females lay eggs. She hasn't laid anything. She had a fixation on my one iguana who passed away, and she loved him. And when we were, now she's in his cage, I think she smells him. I mean, I cleaned it really well before I put her in there, but she really loved him. And in 2017, I had a house fire, and I had to bring him other places to live in a trailer, and they were separated. She wouldn't get up. Her head was down. She was depressed, and I thought, what's wrong with her? You know, I said, I couldn't understand what was wrong. I moved her cage toward Mr. G's cage. She perked right up. She was so happy to see him. But I think she was happy that he passed away because she got this enclosure. And now she seems really happy. But she is such a good animal. They make great pets for kids. They don't have very sharp teeth. They don't whip their tail. They can stay, you know, they stay with you. They like the warmth and everything, and they're really manageable. But this makes a better pet, especially for kids, especially for a first timer. But yeah, so she really is good. Now they call bearded dragons because their beard gets black when they're stressed or they're displaying, but she hardly is stressed, so I hardly ever see her beard. Sometimes when she's sunning herself, she turns black, but I think she's just kind of preening, you know, but she's very calm, and they sleep at night. If this is a female, because it doesn't have the femoral spores or the bumps on the tail on the inside. But I looked at when I got her, so 2015, so she's like at least maybe 8 or 9 years old now. I don't know how old, she was. They don't really live very long, but I've had very good success with bearded dragons living quite a long time.
She hasn't laid in all that time?
No, she hasn't. No.
So they don't have to lay.
Yeah, and they don't really need a male to lay, because they can lay like a bird. They could lay eggs, but she hasn't. And I don't care if she does or not, but because I always worry about getting egg down. What was that? I don't really want to mate her though. I think she's too old. I mean, she's like I said, I got her in 2015, so and I think she was 3, so she's like 9 years old now, you know. But these make great pets for kids. Uh-oh, you need a helper.
This is a Florida king snake. This is what they would look like if you found one in the central region of Florida. The king snakes are pretty cool because the different regions of Florida, they come up with different colors. Some of them are speckled. In South Florida, they're white. You go up in the Panhandle, they have an orange, peachish color to them. But they're basically all the same snake. This one's coming from a breeder in Tampa, Minnesota. I had to get this from John because I've always wanted one of the king snake that you would see in this area, and they're hard to find because nobody breeds them anymore. They're all different color morphs, you know, and you just can't find them that look like this anymore. So anyway, I got this from John, and I was really happy to get it. The neat thing about, for those of you that are not familiar with king snakes, they're like the king cobra. They're one of their favorite foods. They'd rather eat snakes. They're also immune to rattlesnake venom, cottonmouth venom. They're not immune to coral snake venom because it's a neurotoxin. Well, the others are a hemotoxin. But they need a snake in a heartbeat. But they're really cool. This guy here, when they get out, one of the characteristics of him is tail rattling. He'll stick his tail down in the newspaper and so we play a little rattling when you get him out. But they're really cool snakes, very docile, very tame, very active.
Now, do you feed them rats or?
These guys right here right now are eating fuzzy mice because there's 2 of them. About every 7 to 10 days. Okay. Cool. So they go pretty fast. If you'd like to walk around and show everybody that one, you're welcome. This one here is a Brazilian rainbow boa.
Beautiful.
You can't really appreciate their color until you take them out in the sunlight and see the iridescent color pop. I mean, they really pop. And this one here just shed recently, so when I have it here on Wednesdays, everybody, I have the little kids take and carry it out in the sunlight, you know, where you can really see it. You can see all the colors in the rainbow all over the snake. It's just a beautiful thing.
And when Dennis says he comes here on Wednesdays, he's down in the interactive center, and he comes every Wednesday and displays his snakes and talks to people that come in, and he has a following, actually. People come to see Dennis and his snakes. What time do you come down here?
10 to 4.
10 to 4.
Every Wednesday. Anyway, I enjoy it, but this one here is just another beautiful snake. It's from the Amazon basin.
Beautiful.
They used to have a really bad reputation at one time. They used to have a bad reputation at one time for being, you know, snipping, you know, biting real bad. But they pretty much bred that out of them, you know. But it's good to carry that one around.
And did you get that one as a baby too?
Yeah. Yeah. This one here I've had almost a year, just about a year old. This one's a year old, and I think that one's 11 months old. This here is a baby snapping turtle. Yeah. Florida snapping turtle.
How big do they get?
Yeah, they get about this big.
Yeah, oops.
But this guy here is only about maybe a month or so old.
He's cute.
I like the looks of these because they're so prehistoric looking.
Bumpy and all that.
Yeah, but I just love the way that they look. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But these guys, once they get a little bit older, you can't pick them up and hold them like this because they get tough.
You want to lose a finger.
Anyway, you'd like to see the.
He likes you.
The one snake, I know I didn't.
This is a Florida box turtle. It's an actual Florida box turtle. And this one here is probably 15, 20 years old.
Where's his head?
But, you know, they have a hinge fastener right here, and they can fold up and hide, to put your hide in there. His name's Ted. My grandson. But they're pretty neat. They're fun to have around.
And what does this one eat?
Huh?
What does this one eat?
Anything you get.
So he eats meat and fruit?
They'll eat meat. I have him on a special diet because the last one, I fed him too much and he couldn't close up. and little balls of fat kind of popped out like a little water balloon, you know. And I'm going to a Turtle and Quarter Club meeting one night, and they said, "What are you feeding that thing?" And I said, "Why? What's the matter with it?" He said, "He can't even get in his shell." And I was feeding too many fishing worms.
Oh, yeah.
And he just went, you know, yeah, he walked around like. And I try to show people how they close his shell up, and he couldn't. And I said, well, normally they can close up, but this one's got a problem.